have with us Dr. Anagha Lavekar. She is here to guide us about career in psychology. She has completed her education by PhD. Uh, she has a vast experience of teaching at school level and college level. Let's start with the first question. How and when your liking for psychology was developed?
Well, psychology has always been my passion since my childhood. I was always interested in understanding people, observing them, trying to understand why they are behaving in a particular way. So, in my childhood itself, I had decided to either go for journalism or psychology, and maybe psychology was a stronger passion, so I came into the field of psychology.
When you actually started learning this subject, did you find it difficult?
Not at all. As I told you, psychology was one of the fields of my own interests. And so when you learn something that interests you or that fascinates you, it doesn't seem difficult to you at all. And since I had a background of science till my 12th standard, the physiological aspect in psychology also was not very much difficult for me to understand as compared to my fellow students when I picked up this subject at my FYBA. Because it was always a catching subject for me. I think it never gave me the feeling of being a odd person.
When a student starts learning psychology as a subject, which special skills do you think are required?
For a student of psychology, being observant is the most important requirement according to me, because unless and until you learn to observe people very keenly, you're not able to infer things out of it. Secondly, comprehension is also very important, because in psychology you have to gather pieces of behaviors at different situations, at different occasions of different people, and then come to some conclusion or try to understand the behavior in an individual or across individuals. So comprehension, observation skills, being empathetic, and being highly liberal in accepting people as individuals. I think these are some attitudinal and skill related things to study psychology.
Is it necessary to opt for art side if a student wants to have a career in psychology?
Generally, it is said that if you want to pursue psychology, you have to take arts as a faculty. But actually, out of Maharashtra, if you see in many other states, there is a graduation in BSc, like graduation in science with psychology as a major. So it is not actually the faculty that you choose. You can choose psychology as a part of your study curriculum, whether you are in science stream or art stream, both. And secondly, as I mentioned, that psychology is applicable in each and every field of human life. So it is not necessary that only people who are coming from the art stream can pursue psychology later on. People who are even people who are coming from different streams of knowledge, like if they are medicos, or they might be from management, they might be even from pure sciences, if they are interested in the psychology as a field or as a branch of knowledge, they can pursue it at any age and coming from any field.
Which are the different branches and sub-branches of psychology?
Initially, there were main three branches which were quite well known, and they have been developed since the beginning of the research in psychology and application of psychology as a field. Basically, educational psychology is one of the oldest branches in psychology. Secondly, abnormal psychology or clinical psychology, which deals more with psychological problems, that is mostly the psychological health problems, is one of the important branches. And the third branch, which has come up since last say 50 to 60 years, after the Second World War more precisely, is organizational psychology, which talks more about, or which deals more with issues pertaining to the various industries, organizations, where teams have to work together to reach a specific goal or objective, and then all the interrelationships in those teams, the undercurrents in the team behavior. So all the organizational psychology deals more with the management issues and the productivity of an individual as a person in a big organization. So these three major fields are there, and of course apart from that there are many more fields which are coming up. Like for example, animal therapy is coming up as a subfield of psychotherapeutic branch, or then there is positive psychology which is also coming up as a separate branch. Uh, Within educational psychology there have been various other branches, like a branch focuses only on cognitive psychology, a branch focuses only on the educational methodology as psychological from psychological perspective. So many more other branches are also coming up.
Can you please give us some information about some reputed institutions in India where a student can learn psychology?
In most of the colleges where undergraduate teaching takes place at the tehsil levels and the district levels, psychology is provided as a subject. After doing the graduation, for post graduation also now, many colleges are coming up and which are affiliated to different universities which provide the postgraduate level education in psychology. So the question comes actually when you have to do some in-depth work, or you have to take education in a super specialized area in psychology. According to me, there are a few institutes in India which do provide a very quality education in specialized fields in psychology. One of them is NIMHANS, National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences at Bangalore, which offers courses in clinical psychology. And of course, there is a rigorous entrance test and all other things to get into that institute, but it's a internationally reputed institute. There are few more institutes in Bangalore. There is an institute in Delhi. One institute is in Ranchi, where such kinds of a super specialized education in psychology can be availed. Jnanaprabodhini's Institute of Psychology at Pune is also one of the reputed and recognized institutes which provides courses in educational psychology as well as psychology of mental health. And apart from that, there are many more applied research endeavors which are going on at Jnanaprabodhini. So all these institutes can give you an exposure in various specialized branches in psychology as well as some work experience at the field level as well.
Is it necessary for a student to have a knowledge about psychological assessment if he wants to work as a psychologist or in research field?
Of course, psychological assessment is a very necessary skill for a psychologist to work in any field. Psychological assessment is essential because one has to be very objective in understanding individual's behavior. Though a person is knowledge in the field of psychology, or he or she has good academic record in his degrees in psychology, the objectivity is maintained only through objective instruments. And so when we are using certain psychological tools, because say for example measuring intelligence or measuring personality traits or assessing certain skills, assessing attitudes, is very essential so that no subjectivity enters in any kind of interpretation or any kind of expression as a psychologist when a person is working in the field. And that is why psychological assessment is important both in research and application.
For a student of psychology, which are the future job opportunities and other opportunities in this field?
As a student of psychology, I would say that now sky is the limit actually, because as I said, psychology is applicable in all fields of life. So not necessarily only a psychologist can work in a school setup or in an educational institution or in teaching profession, but psychology is essential to make things work at different levels in different types of organizations. I will give you just two examples. All of us are quite aware about the growing impact of the field of entertainment. Now, what is entertainment? Entertainment is something that fascinates your mind. So people who are in this field of entertainment, they have to have the knowledge of psychology of people as to what people can be interested in, about which they have fascination, what can make them passionate, what can really help them in getting relaxed. And so psychologists are employed by people who are entertainment, can say, boss people. Secondly, number of other fields are also coming up in which psychology is required, like for example management, because management also deals with people. how to handle people, how to resolve the issues. There are many conflicts at workplace. There are psychological issues pertaining to individuals working in different organizations. So catering to their problems. And so I think that psychology has got immense scope in different fields of life. These fields are coming up slowly, and people are now started realizing that how knowledge of psychology is important for them at their own workplace. So they may take the knowledge of psychology for themselves, or they may appoint people who are having the knowledge already. So in both the terms, psychology has a lot of scope in any kind of field.
Today, Dr. Anagha Lavekar gave us a lot of information about career in psychology. This guidance is really helpful for all of us. Thank you.